Okay, so another video. Sorry for the long gap because I was really busy on a different project. Anyhow, what are we up to today? Well, this is where we left it with our project. We had docking working. The idea today is to create another window in here, a viewport window, and we're going to put this texture in the viewport. So we're going to have this texture, instead of having it displayed in the ImGui window, we're going to have it displayed in a, instead of having it in the GLFW window, we're going to display it in an ImGui window. This is quite a long one. There's not going to be any actual typing of code because I don't type fast enough, so I've already set this up, and it's literally just going to be a case of showing what had to be added to get this next phase going. So actually the first thing we're going to do is we're going to comment out that line of code there and get rid of that horrible orange colour that we've got on. I can't remember why I set that, but we did. Anyhow, so in our Windows Manager file, we're going to add in, we're going to start with adding an include. We're going to need functional in there. We're going to have this line of code which defines a type for us to use later. We are then going to add an ImGui window. We're going to add a create frame buffer, a bind frame buffer, unbind frame buffer, rescale frame buffer. We're going to add a get width and a get height. We're going to use our member here, our render callback. Then in the private section, we're going to set up some private bits here. These are GLU ints. We need a frame buffer, mFrame buffer object, a frame buffer viewport texture. Now this is actually going to be the texture that we're going to draw into our new window. So this will contain the image that we're going to draw, and this can be a 2D image or a 3D object, anything we can draw into that window once we set this up. Frame buffer depth, frame buffer width, and frame buffer height. We'll come across into our, if we hold control key down and click on that, we can jump into our main window in here, and this is basically setting up an ImGui window. I've commented most of it, so it's all sort of lets you know what it's doing. This is getting the OpenGL where it's going to render to the size of the frame buffer it's going to scale it to. This is just binding the frame buffer so as we can get the frame buffer that we're displaying in the ImGui window in the GLFW window. I'll get it right in a minute. And then we're simply going to display that frame buffer viewport texture in an ImGui window image display. Get the frame buffer. This is the code for the get frame buffer bit. We've got another bit where we bind the frame buffer again in here. We've got the unbind frame buffer and the rescale frame buffer. The rescale frame buffer basically rescales all this so as it fits in that window nicely. All this code is up on GitHub in the repository on GitHub, so you can copy and paste all this code if you want to if you want to test it to see if it actually does what it's supposed to. It does do what it's supposed to because I've tested it. These are the two little getters for the get the height and get the width. Now at the top of this file there's just a little helper file in here for destroying the frame buffer, which has been added to the top of the file, and that's really all there is to it. In the main app file we need to add this piece here which basically sets the render up for the callback. I've made a couple of adjustments here. These aren't anything to do with but from the old setup. I've just made some, it's just cleaned it up a little bit for how this is being displayed, how these windows are being displayed in here. This demo window, the one that was the bright orange, technically doesn't need to be done like that in here. We could do that off in a we could do that in the Windows Manager and set that window up in there if we wanted to. It doesn't need to be done in the main loop. And then the most important line of code is this line of code here, which if we uncomment this and hit the big green button, we should now get a window with our texture drawing in it and not drawing in the ImGui window. So there we go. This is our ImGui window. As you can see, there's no texture being drawn in the GLFW window now because we've taken the frame buffer from there and set the frame buffer in this one. So we now have our image in our viewport window, like our main scene window. Still got that. We've not got that horrible orange. I need to change the button colour. The button colour is still a horrible orange. Never mind. That's another day. Anyhow, all the code's on GitHub. If you are following along with this, and I know a few people are, thanks for watching if you did.